This week on Popular Hot Rodding Television, Cam and Dean discuss hand tools, how they're made, how to use them properly, the differences between quality and junk product, and how to torque fasteners. And why is this 67 Pro Street Nova one of the baddest cars on the West Coast? Stay tuned and find out.
Modular phone jack without the right tool, you might as well build a ship in a bottle.
Welcome to Popular Hot Rodding Television. I'm Cameron Evans.
And I'm Dean Skuza. Now today on the set we're cleaning our toolbox out, and it got me thinking, there's not one...
I can smell the smoke from here.
Shut up! There's not one topic on PHR TV that we haven't covered that didn't require some type of a tool, whether it be an engine rebuild or just bolt-on horsepower. It all requires tools. And I'm telling you, there's not a better feeling in the world to have the right tool for the right project.
And there's nothing worse than trying to find the right tool and not having it. So that's why we're looking today at hand tools. Not only how they're built, but how to use them. So we'll look at more of that when we come back.
Cam, you like my magnet?
Bite my head, I guess.
Coming up on Popular Hot Rodding Television, Cam and Dean discuss how hand tools are made, and our 67 Pro Street Nova takes to the strip.
Welcome back to PHR TV. On the pad today, we've got a Pro Street 68 Camaro that's as cool as I've seen in a long time. When I asked the car owner, is there any one tool you used on this thing more than any other, he figured out, yeah, you're probably right. A 9/16 socket swivel like this could probably take half of this whole front end of this car apart. Pretty trick little tool. Now take a look at this Camaro. It deserves a second look. I love this motor in this car. 510-inch big block Chevy with Brodix -2 heads, a 315cc intake runner. So basically the car can run well on the street and still breathe well on this drag strip. And it's going to need to do that. It's got a big Dominator on it and a 400 horse power shot. I mean, that's a whole lot of nitrous. A couple other things to see on this car. Look at the way he packaged the coil. Actually put the coil into the interior where it's cool, where it should be. But he ran that trick little wire with a double-sided connector. It cleans up the firewall. And he's got a Mickey Thompson ET Street tire on it, which you say, well, what's the big deal about that? But that big giant tire really works like a slick, and it's got those little slivers down it that keeps the cops happy. He's not going to get pulled over in this one.
Believe it or not, Ripley, the first tool is actually a rock. Got one right here. That's right, just like the Flintstones used to use. Barney Rubble, what a tremendous actor. We found this one in Kenosha. If you look through a modern-day hand tool catalog, chances are you'll find a hand tool for every application. To learn more about how they're made, check this out.
As Dean alluded to, hand tools have been with us since the first rock was used as a hammer by our early ancestors. Today, we rely on our hand tools to help us repair and modify our performance vehicles. Now, all hand tools are not created equal, and you get what you pay for. Ask any professional mechanic and he'll tell you, quality pays for itself over and over. The average guy should only have to purchase a set of quality tools once because they're designed to outlive their owner. So what should you look for in a quality professional hand tool? Look for tools made from the highest quality steel, that are designed to exacting tolerances, that are forged and not cast, and that have been through a high-quality heat treating and chrome plating process. The bottom line, you'll get better quality, better operation, fewer mistakes, and a warranty. Though it varies from company to company, quality hand tools generally follow a few time-tested manufacturing techniques. It all starts with the raw steel that is inspected for flaws and imperfections. The best tools are made from the finest stock available because even a small crack can cause the tool to fail. The raw steel is then cut into the proper lengths by a shearing machine and heated to about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The red-hot steel is then raw forged by a 4-cavity die procedure. Here, the steel is pounded into a series of shapes by each die. The 4 stages are roller, blocker, finisher, and trim. This process is done very quickly, one piece at a time. Next, the finishing takes place. For a typical combination wrench, this is a 24-step process. The first and most visual process involves punching out the working ends of the wrench. Again, the steel is heated to about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the shape is punched out. The wrench is then machine polished to remove the rough spots on the edges and flats created by the forging process. The final polishing step is done by hand, because a machine cannot give the tool the look and feel that the finest quality tools have. Only an operator with years of experience can accomplish this, one tool at a time. Each wrench is then marked with the company name, part number, and size, and then run through the bending machine where the correct angle is applied. Next, the wrench is heat treated to anneal the steel for hardness. The furnace heats the wrench to about 1,550 degrees Fahrenheit, and endothermic gas is injected to equalize the internal atmosphere of the furnace to match the internal composition of the steel. The wrench is then quenched in water, and when cool, it will have a 58-56 Rockwell hardness, which is still very brittle. To temper the steel to the desired hardness, the wrench must be placed into an electric oven for about 2 hours. A wheel abrader then sandblasts it to remove scale created during the heat treating process. The final polishing process is performed in a vibrator. Here, ceramic stones and chemicals are used to polish and clean the tool. Chrome plating protects the wrench for long life and adds a beautiful skin to a very rugged tool. The process begins with nickel plating. The wrench is put into a nickel solution where electrolysis adheres the nickel to the steel. Then, the wrench is rinsed twice before being dropped in the chrome plating solution. In a chemical process that takes about 5 minutes, the chrome bonds to the nickel and the chrome plating is complete. The wrench is then inspected for any flaws in cosmetics or dimensions. Other hand tools like sockets and ratchets follow a similar manufacturing process. One of the interesting things about ratchets is that they are still hand assembled by some of the world's best tool companies. Here, skilled assemblers add the inner workings to the ratchet and make sure it works properly and smoothly. They even give it the "I dropped it on the concrete floor" test to ensure that it will outlast its owner.
Well, now that you checked out how some hand tools are made, it may surprise you how much handwork actually goes on for each individual tool. I mean, I don't know why I just pictured this like big CNC machine that you put the raw forging in, it goes through all these mechanisms, and it comes out all polished and pretty, ready for packaging. I mean, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, Cornwell Tools organized a tour for us, and I got a whole new appreciation on my tools. You don't see me winging them around in a fit of rage anymore. A lot of work goes on.
You know, Dean, in the racing business, they say if you have a $10 head, wear a $10 helmet. I don't know what they say in the tool business, but I think I know what they mean. Listen to this ratchet. I mean, God, I hope there's a warranty on this thing.
Now listen to this. This is the sound of quality right here. Now it's important to remember one thing. Not everyone needs professional hand tools. I mean, if you're going to be hanging a picture in your house, you don't need a $50 dead blow hammer to do it. Or if you're putting your kid's swing set together, you're not going to use your $300 inch-pound torque wrench. You know?
No, but you do. I saw him do it.
Well, I love tools, and plus I got a killer sponsor too, so we'll be right back.
What, did you just like come from the truck stop or something?
Yeah, with my Cornwell tools.
Still to come on popular hot rodding television, Cam and Dean finish their discussion of hand tools, and our Pro Street Nova is on deck. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PHR TV. Since we're talking about hand tools today, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the fasteners themselves and the right tools to tighten them with. When you see what a bolt goes through just normally getting tightened, you're going to be surprised. Check this out.
Once you own a set of quality hand tools, it's important that you use and care for them properly. Using a tool incorrectly, as most of us know, can damage the fastener, the tool, and most painful of all, our knuckles. As it turns out, a lot of us use our tools incorrectly, so let's review a few basics. Sockets have either 6 or 12 points and are made to fit either 6 or 12-point fasteners. 6-point sockets are generally stronger and more torque accurate because they grip the fastener better. 12-point sockets are used on 12-point fasteners, but they are useful when working on 6-point fasteners in tight spaces since they require less movement of the socket. However, you should avoid applying high torque to a 6-point fastener with a 12-point socket. Standard length sockets are used for normal applications and in small spaces. Long length sockets are used for recessed fasteners and for fasteners on studs. Standard sockets are for hand use only. This means for use on non-impact applications, such as with ratchets or breaker bars. Impact sockets are made for use on pneumatic tools, such as impact wrenches, where the torque forces will be much greater. These sockets are generally thicker and made using different manufacturing processes to achieve greater strength. When it comes to wrenches, use the combination wrench correctly. The box end is used for breaking the fastener free and is designed to provide maximum grip. Use the open end of the wrench to remove the fastener quickly once it's been broken loose. With wrenches or sockets, make sure to position them for both effectiveness and safety. And remember to avoid the temptation to over-tighten the fasteners. Fasteners, especially those of high quality, are designed to be torqued to a given point expressed in foot-pounds. When you torque a bolt, it actually stretches, and that's what's providing the clamping power. If the bolt is not torqued enough, it will work itself loose over time. And if too much torque is applied, the bolt will break. So use a torque wrench and follow your torque specs and sequences. Bolts can also fail because of fatigue or the long-term cumulative effect of being tightened over and over. The top engine builders will also tell you if you can't screw a nut and bolt together by hand first, they should not be used on your engine.
You see, torque's not such a tricky deal, and neither is using a torque wrench, but I'll tell you what, you could have fooled me. I mean, I can't tell you how many professional mechanics I see misusing this tool. The torque wrench is designed to give you a precise torque reading, a nice smooth application, not jerky motions like you see a lot of these guys doing, showing off or whatnot. Bring it down smoothly, and when you get to whatever your predetermined torque setting is, say 125 pounds, it'll click. It's a spring-loaded device. Don't exceed it. I see so many guys going like a foot beyond. Now this does two things. I mean, for one, obviously it torques the bolt more than you wanted to. Another thing is it throws this thing out of whack. It's not designed for that.
Yeah, he makes a good point that the misuse of a torque wrench throws it out of calibration. Now, the place that you bought it, the tool dealer probably, you can give it back to him. A week later, he'll come back and he'll have a report as to how much it was either light or heavy so that you're not over-torquing the bolts you've got.
Now, you may have heard mechanics talking about how important it is to clean their tools. Well, you know what? They're doing more than getting the grime off of it. They're actually inspecting them. Now, the same principles that we use on my Funny Car team where the guys actually clean the chassis after every race, well, you know what? The crew chiefs aren't being slave drivers. My guys are looking for hairline cracks, and that's what mechanics do. When they're inspecting these things, they're looking for hairline cracks, maybe like in a 12-point socket here. They may catch one of these fractures before they have to replace the tool. I mean, after all, they're making their living with these tools.
Yeah, it keeps you from getting these knuckle busters, too.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about tool storage, one thing you can do is keep it a little more individual. Do something portable like this that still fits in your toolbox, and it makes it so you don't have to drag the toolbox all the way across the garage to where you're working.
Well, right. It's a great way to organize them, but it does more than that. It's a great visual inventory, if you will, of your tools. I mean, you may have kicked one in the corner or whatnot. This is a good way to see if you're missing any of them.
We know that a lot of you guys out there are building old cars right now, but where if you're building an engine, you'd buy an all-new fastener set. With an old car, you're going to keep those old nuts and bolts around. The problem is they usually look like hell. Well, we found this pretty cool tool from Eastwood that's a tumbling device. It's got one media that cleans it, another media that polishes it and makes your bolts look like new. What I like best about it is it's noisy. I mean, look at that, it makes a racket.
In all those years, I thought my parents were making margaritas in the bedroom. Here, they were polishing bolts. Now, organization in racing, well, it's an understatement, really. If you ever walk through the Top Fuel or the Funny Car pits, I mean, it's quite impressive. It's like a study in time and motion. We have 75 minutes to turn our car over, so we can't be running for the 9/16 wrench in the toolbox. So what we do, we hand fabricate all our own toolboxes, so each crew member has their own specific toolbox. Now, you don't have to hand fabricate your own. I mean, companies like Pit Pal here, they build trays for just about any application. I mean, for your nitrous bottles or brake cleans, car cleaners, whatever. Now, speaking of hundreds of items, let's take a look at this week's rotting marketplace.
Skuza, is that where you keep your nitrous bottles?
Shut up.
Dean Skuza and his NHRA Funny Car team count on Cornwell Tools to get the job done. Shouldn't you? If you're interested in purchasing the highest quality professional hand tools on the market or being your own boss as part of the Cornwell connection of franchised mobile tool distributors, call toll-free 800-321-8356 or visit us online at cornwelltools.com. Need parts for your classic Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, El Camino, or Firebird? Then get your free Resto Parts catalog from National Parts Depot, the nation's fastest restoration parts supplier. Most orders delivered complete in just 1 to 3 business days. Call 888-893-FAST now for your free catalog. National Parts Depot. Since 1959, TD Performance has brought thousands of new performance products and custom accessories to market. Carburetor and throttle body spacers, motor mounts, harmonic balancers, oil filter relocation kits, engine accessories. The list goes on and on. Call for your free 2001 TD Performance catalog or visit them online at tdperformance.com.
Of all the email that pours into phrtv.com, we have to admit that a lot of it's about Sean Torres' teenage bottle rocket Nova.
You know, we're one of the few TV shows that actually read our email, so you asked for it. Let's take another look at Sean Torres' 8-second Nova.
Yeah, this, Dean, really is one of the most copied cars at all the car shows. You see a lot of black Novas nowadays.
Yeah, how about Flavia, this week's PHR video valet?
Yeah, I could see copying her look.
She's from Brazil, remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. The real star of this car are the lines and the bodywork. If you notice, a lot of the trim's been pulled off of this car. It's got shaved door handles, but yet it's got a muscle car look. It doesn't necessarily look like a custom.
Now, the important thing to remember is when you're making 1,200 horsepower with a small block, I mean, you're going to have some type of a power adder. Well, there you see it in the trunk there. How about a 500 shot of NOS? Big time, 1,200, man, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, the interior of this car is really pretty special because it's hard to take a race car styled full chassis car and still make it look like a street car. A lot of people where they have tin work in a race car, all you got to do is lay down carpet, and that's what they did. Simplicity of this car is what makes it a star.
Well, and it's a little pricey too. I mean, you saw those Autometer ultralight gauges, all mag facings. I mean, that's not cheap either.
You see, he's got all the typical drag racing controls you'd expect off that Hurst shifter. Now, this car sometimes run the inner fender panels when it's racing. I personally like its look with the inner fender panels out, but everybody likes this 427-inch small block. You can only go a little bit bigger, you know?
Oh, heck yeah, 1050 Dominator, 500 shot of nitrous, 23-degree heads, nothing elaborate here.
No.
But I'll tell you what, I mean, a 427-stroke small block that's capable of doing 120 60-foot times. This thing is so fun to watch. We had to have Sean come out and like, hey, dude, do a couple burnouts for us, maybe.
Well, you know, like a true valet, she's handed over the keys, and Scott Parkhurst, the technical editor of Popular Outrunning, snapped off a little picture for him. Now realize this car's got a full cage, 10-point cage. It's legal in NHRA to go as quick as 750. I don't think he ever really wants to go that fast. But, you know, it's got all the safety equipment you'd imagine. And there's Sean's dad, Ray, who's really the crew chief on this car and the mastermind behind the combination.
You know, one of the coolest thing about this car is he does a nice little peely for us, is that you said it's certed for 750. This is the only car I've ever heard of that actually drove to the NHRA Tech to get his certification.
Yeah, when they asked him where his trailer was, he says, no, I don't bring
He's
a
like,
trailer.
dude, I drove it, man.
Yeah, they were very surprised by that. Now listen again when you hear the burnout. Sean's going to back this thing up and give us another burnout. You know, this is a mufflered car. A lot of people think that you can't make that kind of power through mufflers, but it's absolutely not the case. You know, listen to these four minutes. Creeps that thing off the line lock and lets it eat.
Dude, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like the sound of a stroked small block. I mean, it's like music, baby.
Now, Dean realized this car's got a 4-link rear suspension, Mustang 2 style front suspension. It's a Chris Olson Chassis Works kit that's been adapted for exactly what they wanted to do. And most of the guys in the street legal scene will tell you that this is no kit car. I mean, this thing launches in the 120 range and 60 foot. That's almost pro stock level.
Well, you know, the thing they're doing right now as we speak is they're putting this thing on a big-time diet. They're taking 300 pounds off of this car.
Now, you see the way that the front suspension worked on this car. Rick Lefevre, their buddy Speed, has spent a lot of time helping him try to get this thing to leave the front wheels on the ground when it launches.
I'll tell you what, this thing went 160 miles an hour, too, so it's not a little toy, baby.
Yeah, Sean Torres' teenage bottle rocket. Pretty obvious name, isn't it?
Right on. Dude, you remember that Metallica video, Fuel? Well, that's the car that was all over it.
Why didn't they use your car?
I don't know, they should have, because I would have let Hetfield drive it. Oh well, they're lost. We'll be right back.
Dude, he'd have done big old burnouts
more
down the
sense.
street.
More of Popular Hot Rodding Television after this.
Let's see if Skuza's ready for the Extreme Golf Tour.
It's in the hole!
I'd say he's ready.
Welcome back to the Golf Channel and Macrame Network.
No, it's not. No,
just kidding.
TNN, right there.
CNN. Now, here's one tool that I'm not even close to mastering. And if I did, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be here. I'd be counting my money in the French Riviera.
Who? Count the money?
De-Monet.
Exactly.
De-Monet.
Well, hope you enjoyed our episode about tools. I mean, after all, you've seen now there's a whole lot more to hand tools than just screwdrivers and wrenches. It's pretty serious business.
Now, dude, what's the deal with this? A Ford golf cart?
See, he doesn't like my Ford golf cart, but he also doesn't know that it holds a case of beer in the front and a case of beer in the back, and they're chilling as we speak.
Well, I guess Ford isn't that bad then.
Yeah,
What do you say we hit the links, baby?
We'll see you next week. Make this thing do a smoky burnout.
Okay, dokey then.
It will. I can do it.
Dude, we forgot the most important thing.
And that would be?
The toolboxes.
Next week on Popular Hot Rodding Television, Cam and Dean show us how turbochargers work and why they're a very efficient power adder. We'll visit the world-famous Long Beach Swap Meet, where you never know what treasures you'll find. And what makes this 35 Chevy sedan so cool? Tune in and find out. Subscribe to Popular Hot Rodding Magazine today, your source for the rod and performance scene. Every issue is packed with how-to articles, killer feature cars, engine build-ups, and much more. Order now, and you'll receive the latest issue of Popular Hot Rodding absolutely free. If you like what you see, you'll pay only $9.97 for 11 more issues. That's less than $1 per copy. America's performance publication, Popular Hot Rodding. Don't wait. Get your free issue by calling 877-9-RODDER now. If you'd like more information on Popular Hot Rodding Television and the products presented on the show, visit PHRTV.com.